Welcome to Tuttle Talk, a part of the Real Estate Radio Network. And now, live in studio, offering you a fresh perspective. He's your local real estate and finance expert. He's part of the Common Sense Party, and he's committed to teaching you how to win in any market. Your host, Andy Tuttle.
Good afternoon and welcome to Tuttle Talk on the Real Estate Radio Network, where we teach you what the rich and the banks do, not what they tell you to do, and where we dispel the misconceptions of financial wellness and the local real estate market and show you how following a few key principles really can free you up to focus on the other important areas of your life, like your friends, your family, and the community. It's the most important hour of radio right here on 660 AM, The Answer, in the great state of Texas. I am your host, Andy Tuttle. I've been in the mortgage business 12 years now, and I found out a long time ago the importance of building a financial team through my own mistakes and stupidity and not taking care of my clients in the early years the way I should have, because they just throw you a rate sheet and say, go get them. Well, that's not the way it should be done. We've got the lowest interest rates in our history and the highest foreclosure rates. Although the market is hot right now, it is cooling down, and there are decisions that you need to make that are smart decisions for you and your family, and there are those that seem right and can cost you thousands or tens of thousands over time. I want to save you from that. So I have interviewed, done the BBB research, done all the vetting of experts and professionals all around DFW, and I bring them to you every week so that you don't have to do that work, because it's hard work. And I got to tell you, you got to kiss a lot of frogs to find the good ones. But I've done that. I have the warts to show it for it. But now we've got a really good crew here, and Gabe Abshire. So we've got a really great crew, plus Gabe Abshire.
And your warts.
And my warts.
I get to look at them all.
I really did have those when I was a kid. I really did. That's Gabe Abshire, owner, utility concierge, one of our great experts on the show today. I will get to him in a minute. I'll tell you, today on the show, we do have a few great little bits of information for you. One, I am going to give you the third of the 3 surefire steps to make sure you're buying right in this market. We're going to talk to our good friend and premier business coach and partner in Halo Group Realty, Lars Lofstrand. He is going to give you, I believe now, the 4th of the 5th of the 5 biggest regrets most people have in their life, and show you how you can make sure that that's not your story. We've been getting great response from this. You want to stay tuned for that. And then John Allen, owner of Texas Community Insurance. He's one of our expert contributors. He's here again. Welcome back, John.
Thank you.
We're going to show you, and I'm going to tell you why his daughter's trip to Europe concerns you, or should concern you. It's very intriguing. You'll want to stay tuned for that, too. And then our fastest growing, most popular segment of all, More Cool Tech with Brian Moore. I tell you what, I love all those apps. I'm ashamed that I do, but actually I'm not ashamed, because they're pretty freaking fantastic and user-friendly. Brian's a super geek, and he's also super smart, and so he brings it every week, even though we never get to him. I usually promise him 6 minutes, and he gets about 30 seconds. Is that about right, Gabe?
If that.
I'm going to try to give you a full minute this time, Brian. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Andy.
Yeah, you bet. All right, you can reach out to us during or after the show, 214-736-9696, 214-736-9696. That's our off-air hotline. And if you get the message, we're on the phone with another listener. So please leave that message there. We'll get right back to you and answer your questions about anything concerning the show today. Also, if you're on the road and you can't call, but you can text Talk Now, no spaces, Talk Now, to 72727. That's 72727, and you will get a hold of any of the offers on today's show, any of the articles, any of the white papers, web series, anything that we're offering. You'll be able to get a hold of that there. That's Talk Now, no spaces, all one word, to 72727. And of course, you can become a fan and get involved in the conversation at facebook.com/Tuttle Talk. I got to tell you guys, first thing we cannot ignore, besides Lars, your beautiful smile, I can't ignore that either, is Syria. And it's serious, man. It really is. And I know we can't get into this, and I know you guys out there, I know you all get this all the time, every week, every day. It's everything you hear about. But it's a rough situation going over there, man. And as a human being, I think you got to be affected by it. Yes, cannot. And I think we all have some differing opinions on, should America get involved, right? Shouldn't America get involved? I'll be honest, I asked that question to all of you on the fan page out there, and we had an overwhelming response that says America should not get involved right now. I got to tell you, I'm torn. And, because it's a difficult decision because we do have a lot of our own problems, man, and we just don't have a good history of getting involved and making things better, right? And it's a tough situation because as a human, there are a lot of opportunities for you to get involved and help. As a country, you have different things you have to consider. It's not in the scope of this show to get into that, but I do want to let you know that unrest and that uncertainty and your uncertainty of what we should do is affecting the markets and it affecting the bond markets, and it affected them this week. You saw the stock markets wobble. You saw a big flight to quality. You saw then the bond markets not know what to do and rates spike up and then go back down. The markets don't understand what's going to happen, and until this really over the next couple of weeks shapes up and we know what's happening, what the effect of that is, it's going to be like this. So get ready for a ride. If you are in the process of looking for a home right now and you are in a position, I would say this. I would encourage you, one, get with a lender. We'd love it to be us at Rim and Elite. We'd love to take care of you. But get with a lender that can lock your loan before you actually get a contract, and be in a position to lock because you need to have all your documentation and be ready to lock the loan in case this situation goes south, because you can lock your loan in based on the time frame that your closing is in and what's best for you and what's going on in the market. And so, and of course, your credit conditions and everything else. But it's important to be proactive right now. So get ahead of that because it's affecting the bond market here. Would you guys agree with that? You've seen some of that volatility in the market here?
Oh, absolutely.
I want to ask Lars his opinion on what we should do in Syria, but I know we would need 2 shows for that, and it would cause a problem. So I'll ask it. Lars, do you want to tell us what you think should happen in Syria?
I have no comment, Andy.
I know you don't, buddy. And I know you do, and you got a lot of great things to say, but it is outside of the scope of this. So the next thing, speaking of like all the stuff going on in the market and everything that affects the market right now, I want to get into in this first segment, and then we're going to bring John in and Lars and the whole crew. And we've got our special guest today from the Kinsey Group, Brenda Kinsey and Brendan Duffy. And I got to tell you, we got to do something with those 2 great names, Brenda and Brendan, Brendan and Brenda. We're going to figure this out. It's a TV show in the making. It really is.
Showmance.
It's a showmance. On this show today, we're going to make a bet and we're going to give them we're going to make a new brand name for them. That's what we're going to do right here live on the show. It's going to be so exciting. But
we throw Lars in there too. That whole mix. That'd be interesting.
We don't want to take away the credibility of the name.
Good call. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Sorry, Brenda.
So where they're going to come up in the second half of our show, they are one of the premier teams in the Metroplex and one of the leading teams over at Halo Group Realty. And I've had the pleasure of working with several of Brenda's clients, and we work with a lot of realtors in the marketplace and a lot of great realtors. But there are certain teams that clients just go on and on about, and there are certain teams that know how to, and realtors that have a great bedside manner, but also a great business mindset. And it's hard to get that combination, but the Kinsey Group has it, so I'm excited to hear about them later in the show and hear from them later in the show. Now, I want to get to the tips, guys. Here it is, the third tip of the 3 tips that you need to make sure, the surefire steps, if you will, to make sure you're buying right in this market. The first was, of course, work with the local professional. And we talked about how to know you're working with a good realtor and how to know that you're working with a good lender. The second step was be prepared, being proactive. And I sent you a Forbes article on the subject. And again, I have all this full article. If you missed any of it, you can text Talk Now, no spaces, to 72727. Talk Now, no spaces, to 72727. And you'll get this whole article. But the third step is be patient. I know that all of us, except for maybe John, get frustrated when our text message doesn't load in half a second. I get so frustrated when that page stays blank for like 1 second. Do you know what I mean? But this is one thing in your life that you shouldn't rush, right? It's like a wedding in a sense. There are over 30 people now involved on the average transaction, and somewhere between 8 and 10 different companies that are all involved to help you buy a home. You've got so many family decisions. There's typically different family members involved, and there's so much going on that it is your procrastinator mentality needs to, you're going to need to step out of your comfort zone and be patient with the process. Like the military always says, hurry up and wait sometimes. but be proactive, get education, and be patient with everything that's going on. And that means on your side that you've got to be prepared and communicate with your realtor, your local professionals, your lender, and make sure that you're being as honest as you can up front so that they can make the best decisions for you, because guys, it takes a team. If you don't have, right, Lars, if you don't have the great realtor, which is why you guys work so hard to make sure you hire great talent, if you don't have the realtor doing their job brilliantly and the lender doing their job brilliantly, you're going to have a collision somewhere, right?
Right.
Because it's just too many things can go wrong. There's just too many complications in the process anyway. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. Hey, Andy, I was wondering something, and this is the squirrel moment. What happened to your boots on the ground
boot campaign? We still do that.
I wore my boots today.
Oh, you did? Those aren't boot campaign boots, but those are boots, baby, and I love that.
Those are Army boots?
Those are Army boots because you were in the Army. I'll tell you right now that we wear ours, and we tell it at the end of every show. The first Friday of every month, our whole company, we wear our boots. We want you to buy your boots, bootcampaign.com. Thanks for bringing that up. This is a squirrel moment. It's four military wives started that charity, but it supports all kinds of different military charities. And so when you wear your boots, you buy your boots from them, you support our troops. And so we wear them and we post stuff to the Facebook page all the time. We want you to take pictures of you in your boots and post it to the fan page as well.
And that's a Friday?
That's the first Friday of every month. We wear them. You can post it any time, but we do it all together to collectively, everyone that we know, and all of you out there, the first Friday of every month, and post your pictures. So thanks for bringing that up. So guys, work with a local professional, be prepared, be patient. Those are the 3 surefire steps to make sure that you're going to buy right in this market and in any market. If you want the full article again, text TALK NOW, all one word, no spaces, to 72727. That's 72727. Coming up, we are going to get with John Allen and talk about his daughter's trip to Europe and how in the world that has anything to do with you. And we're going to get with Lars on his expertise and talking about the 5 biggest regrets that most people have in their life and how to make sure that that does not happen to you. So stay with us. Welcome back. You're listening to Tuttle Talk here on the Real Estate Radio Network every Sunday, 3 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer. I am your host, Andy Tuttle. Thanks so much for staying with us. John Allen, owner of Texas Community Insurance, is with us. And you know, John, you always bring in us great information, great warnings sometimes about insurance. Most of the time, it's stuff I don't think about, the listeners don't think about, because from all in all, people don't think about insurance.
We're trying to keep insurance exciting without the claims experience. That's what's going on.
That's what it is. So I find it interesting that somehow your daughter's trip to Europe has anything to do with me or the rest of the listeners, but somehow after talking with you, it actually does. How did this all come about?
You're shocked and surprised. About 9 months ago, she comes up to me and says, Dad, I've got a plan. A friend of mine and I, now keep in mind, she's 20 years old. A friend of mine and I want to go to Europe backpacking. Just the two of us going to Europe backpacking. And she goes, that's okay, right? And I'm like,
is a friend a boy or a girl?
A girl.
Okay.
2 girls, 20-year-old girls by themselves in Europe backpacking.
This does sound exactly like a movie that's already come out.
So my first response was to say, well, have you seen the movie Taken? Except then it dawned on me that I can't use that as an excuse for why she can't go. I'm going to have to come up with something a little bit more with it. Well, I got to thinking about it, and the issue is, all right, you get to Europe, and then what? I mean, you've gone online, you found these places online. How do we know they're real? How do we know what they look like other than the pictures that anybody could Photoshop, right? And who do I call? How do I get you out of trouble? And I thought about it. When you're in Austin, I know people I can call. I can help you if I need to, but I can't when you're in Germany.
I got the perfect. I know what you do. You just go with her. I'll go to Europe.
Yeah, I tried that. That didn't fly at all.
Just have FaceTime on the whole time. Put GPS tracker, number 1. That's the first thing I would do. And FaceTime the whole time. I tell you, I went to Europe when I graduated high school. Same situation. And
you also went with a friend, didn't you?
I didn't. I actually went by myself and met people there that I knew. Mm-hmm. And the communication difference between now and then. I mean, I had an AT&T calling card. My parents probably paid $5,000 or $6,000 in calling. So at least you can keep in touch with her.
We had a protocol where we got around that. So we finally got to the point where she said, well, okay, I've got names and phone numbers and friends of friends, and every place I'm going to be, I've got somebody you can contact. Good. So now I feel good about it, right? And to your point, what does this have to do with insurance? Well, I got to thinking about that. You know, a lot of people go online and they look and they see an online site and they say, oh, this looks like a cheap policy. I think I'll get it. Have you vetted what you're getting? Really? I mean, we're not ordering a pizza here. It's your house that we're protecting. It's your cars. If you get in a car wreck, do you have enough coverage to save you? And if you do have a problem, who do you call when you get into a spot? Yeah, there really is a parallel. I mean, a very strong one. I mean, it's a little different when it's your daughter's life, but it's still a very strong parallel in terms of, have I really vetted this right? Yeah,
because otherwise when you do get into that issue, you pick up the phone, the 800 number, and the person's like,
sorry, we're closed till next month.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that question.
We're on holiday.
Whether it's your car or your home, something really can go bad, and then that's when you're in a situation where you don't want to be with the lowest cost provider.
That's right.
I don't think people think about that enough.
Yeah. It's a little bit out there, but you really do have to make sure you're with a good company that you feel good about. That's the thing about this whole experience, really. Do you feel good about it? And do you know other people that have had a good experience with it? And if the answer to both those questions is yes, then you're probably okay. And that, in my daughter's case, that was the deal. Once I felt good about it, where she was going to be with, and I felt comfortable with it, everything worked out. But you got to get to that point. So make sure you do that with your insurance.
Was it safe? Did you watch Taken a few extra times before she went just so you could get into the mode?
Even when she got back,
some butt if you had to?
She still won't watch it with me. And she looks at me like, yeah, you're Liam Neeson, right?
First of all, that screws you up right there because it's Liam Neeson.
That's what I meant. That's not what I said, right?
You said Liam Neeson. It's like a combination of Leslie Nielsen and Liam Neeson.
It's a temporary
a very
senior
funny
moment there. Sorry.
Yeah, that's good.
Whatever.
Well, whatever. I'll tell you on that, though, man, I see it all the time, and I look at those insurance deals, and first of all, honestly, we're with you. You're very competitive. You saved us money.
Right.
So, it was like $1,000 or $1,100 a year you saved us. So it was, and we thought we had good coverage before. Right. So I just don't want to send the message that you're not that you're not competitive or you don't have to be. But man, I'm with you. You can't go always off of because if you're spending all that money on marketing, you're cutting costs somewhere else, and it's going to be the people that are taking care of you in the service.
Andy, the difference is you took the time to actually look at it. A lot of people simply see a chart with maybe 6 different options, and they pick the cheapest one and move on. That's it.
That ties into our business too. I mean, that's kind of what we do. We talked about it before. People don't read emails, they don't read letters, whatever. Right. We read that information. We steer them in the right direction of credible companies that you are going to be able to call when things hit the fan, and then we're there when things hit the fan and things don't go perfectly.
Things hit the fan. I said it. Okay, that works nice.
You like that?
Nice PG version. So, that's what I do like about your company, man, because, it's the no-brainer deal. It's like we'll tell you who to use, kind of like what I try to do here. It's a little vetting. That's why I like you, because you're a no-cost service, really, as far as that goes. They got to pay that service, and now they pay no extra charge, and actually you save them money. It's like they come to you, you make all the calls to all the different companies and set them up with the right people.
Yeah, I'd like to say we're good when everything goes well, but we're great when things go wrong.
Yeah.
So when the other companies drop the ball, we can get in there and make those calls and make things right real quick.
Yeah. John, why do you think, real quick last question on this, and I think it's pretty obvious, but people don't look at stuff, right? And so why, when we know that when claims happen and you're not with a great company with a good coverage, things go really, really bad, but still it doesn't get in our head that, you know what, you can't do things the way you've always done. You can't buy the hype.
Well, a couple things. One, it won't happen to me. It won't.
Right.
It's exactly what my daughter said. Nothing's going to happen. Everybody does it. Don't worry about it. And the second thing is, with insurance in particular, people don't want to roll up their sleeves because they think it's too big for them to understand, and it's a lot of work. It's kind of like cleaning the closet. I can do it. I just don't really want to do that. And if there's a quick, easy solution that looks like it's reasonably decent, great, sold, done.
And do they think maybe it's not that much money? That right. Also, so I mean, if my rate goes up this or this, it's not that big of a deal
right.
in the big scheme of things.
Well, and if you don't think a claim is a real experience, I mean, it's not real to you what you're buying. All you're focused on is what the premium is. You're not focused on the benefit for the premium.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I tell you what, a lot of things you can shortcut. There's a lot of things you can figure out. Actually, there's not a lot of things you can shortcut, but there's some things that you can shortcut. Your home, big purchase items, things that affect your life, your family, those things, please don't shortcut. Call us 214-736-9696. We'll get you connected with the professionals. You're listening to Tuttle Talk. Lars, premier business coach, partner Halo. Always love having you here, even though your accent makes you sound a lot smarter than me. It's
always good to be back.
We've been going over with you. It's kind of interesting because we kind of take a departure and go over a little bit more of the mind stuff. And I guess you could say, it's definitely not finance or real estate. It just has to do with us as people, the humanity aspect. And I think it's important because in a world where Kardashians dominate every local cover of every magazine I see, it tells me that we're missing a few things when it comes to the depth in life. And this regrets series we've been doing has really hit home with a lot of people, a lot of the listeners. And so would you quickly go over the first 3 regrets that you covered? You can just list them and then get into the 4th regret. And I kind of want to finish off with some advice from you and your own personal professional experience on how to make sure that this doesn't become my story, doesn't become our listener's story.
Okay, well, the first regret we had was I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. That was number 1. Number 2 was I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And I think that's a very common one, especially for us guys. I know for me, that's one that I've been considering quite a bit, because you don't get to see the kids grow up. So
yeah, Brenda doesn't work that hard. I'll tell you that right now. That girl does not. Oh, wait a second. She's coming on the show later. She works really, really hard. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, they actually said, and this is just a recap, they say that this was, every guy had this regret. And this was done in a time, obviously, when, most men worked and some women didn't work. But every guy had that regret. So, and that's why I brought that up. Number 3, I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings more. And then number 4, and this week's regret out of the 5 is number 4, I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. And then she goes on to say that, often they would not truly realize the benefits of old friends until their dying weeks, and it was not always possible to track them down. So we lose track of our friends, I think about that quite a bit because, I've moved from another country and, I left a lot of good friends there, and some of them I stay in touch with, but other ones, you kind of start losing a little bit of touch because we get busy being busy, and then, she says that many had been caught up so much in their own lives that they had let their golden friendships slip by over the years. There were many deep regrets about not giving friendships the time and effort they deserved. Everyone misses their friends when they're dying.
So, first of all, yeah, you're so right about that. When I see stuff going on in Syria, honestly, and you see all that destruction and death over there and like what's happening, go, man, when I hear tragedy, it always makes me go, man, what happens if I lose my family? What happens? And it makes me want to hug them more, right? You know that you just want to love on them more. But let me ask a question, because I think a lot of people go, well, Facebook lets me do that. And you have, you maxed out on friends. You have thousands of subscribers. You're maxed out on everything. So when I see that, I think when a lot of people see that, they go, well, no, you can keep in touch because Facebook helps you do that. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think the thing that the world's lacking at the moment is that personal touch, that we've largely lost contact with people. Although we have electronic contact, we don't have that physical contact. And I think that's a very important thing. We are we tangible beings as human beings. We like to touch, feel, and see things. So it's not always enough just to have, people on Facebook. And, frankly, they're not all my friends,
right?
Associates. So
yeah, a lot. I think in our culture, we tend to go shallow with a ton of people. We want to go real broad instead of going deep. And yeah, I'll use Christ's model. And Bob Bodine was on the show and he talked about that. 12 close friends, 3 closer, and 1 closest. It's going deep instead of going wide. And I think a lot of people, they have that regret because we buy into that. We have all these friends, all these parties, but you can go and just living your life in the shallow end is something that at the end, it sounds like, hey, you're going to regret. So instead, I think the message is, and what I get from that, Lars, is, you know what? You have that tough conversation you need to have with a friend. If they mean something to you, have the tough conversation. Sometimes being the friend is not being liked in that moment. Mm-hmm. That same thing goes with your spouse. Sometimes you got to take that tough conversation and you got to hear those words and not lash back and get defensive like you want to if you want healing to take place. And I tell you what, if you're in a part where you're like, you know what, I do have some friends I need to talk to about that, or some family, the quickest way to bring healing to a relationship is ask for forgiveness. Say, I'm sorry for what I did. I apologize. If you have 1%, especially if you're a man out there, and you only 0.00001% wrong, and your wife's 99.99% wrong, own the 1%. Own the 0.001. Be the man of the house. Apologize. Bring healing to that relationship and go deep. So that's not your story at the end.
Can't you just say up front, I accept your apology before you apologize? Well, just trying to help.
I tried that. That didn't work.
No, that doesn't work. That's another show. We'll talk about that on another show.
It's a series of shows, right?
No kidding. That's a whole new series. When we come back, we'll get with the Kinsey Group, Brenda and Brendan, a great team out in Collin County. They're going to talk to us about all the action happening up there in Collin County and how you can play a part in that and get your hands on some hot real estate. And then we're going to get to more cool tech with Brian Moore. All that next. Welcome back. You're listening to Tuttle Talk here on the Real Estate Radio Network. I am Andy Tuttle, your host. Thank you so much for staying with us. Remember, if you want to reach out to us during or after the show, you can call us 214-736-9696, 214-736-9696. You can also get into the conversation on Facebook.com/Tuttle Talk. You can catch all shows. If you miss any part of this one or any past shows at AndyTuttle.com. And of course, if you just need to send a quick text and you want to get some of the 5 regrets article that Lars has been talking about the past 5 weeks, or 4 weeks, I guess now. And if you want to get my article about the 3 surefire steps that you need to take to make sure you buy right in this market, you can text the number 72727, text 72727, and type "Talk Now," all one word, no spaces. Talk now to that number, and you'll get all the information that you need there. Here with us today in studio, our very special guest, Brenda Kinsey of the Kinsey Group, and Brendan Duffy, her other side of her brain, her business better half, if you will. You're the better half always,
you
Brenda.
Watch that. Yeah.
But he is the other half, if you will, and they are one of the premier teams in DFW. They are one of the top teams over at Halo Realty Group, and they're here with us today. We're going to talk a little bit of Collin County. I know you guys have a passion for that area and a passion for Prosper and all what's going on in the Collin County area. So I'm excited to hear about that and excited to hear about the dynamic between you two. So Brenda, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
You bet, Brendan. Thanks so much for being here, man.
Hey, man.
So great working out with you guys last night, by the way, the other night.
That was a beating.
So we go to Dig every Tuesday, Dallas Insanity Group, and I've been going for a couple of months now, and I invited these guys out, and Lars wussed out on us, couldn't join us. Typical. Thank you very much. They don't think you're coming next week, man.
I'm there next week.
Okay, we'll see. So that's coming up on Tuesday. It's at Clyde Warren Park, 6 p.m. A friend of mine, he's been on the show a lot, Coach Jimmy. He's one of the Insanity cast members, and he teaches the class. It was a hard workout, huh?
Absolutely.
Extremely.
Extremely. It was, man.
It's good.
It is good. I do it every week, and it's still just as hard. I feel like it's just as hard every week. Okay, so Brendan, you, my man, and I love playing off these two names.
Yeah, pronounce the N. Yeah,
every time he gets offended. That's right. Let's talk about the fact that you've been an appraiser for 19 years. And now you've gone to the other side of the tracks.
The better side.
I'm going to say, okay, yeah.
The jury's out on that. Okay, yeah. It's not. Yeah. So what's the major difference that you see? How has that transition been?
Transition's been good. I came over to this side because I enjoy working with the people more. I love the appraisal side. That's always going to be a part of me. Been doing it so long, it's hard to think outside that kind of appraiser box. But working with the clients, getting to explain to them how the process is for the appraisal process, the different sides from what the typical realtor is going to tell you as far as how they're coming up with their numbers, what kind of numbers you can expect from what appraiser standpoint is, working with the people that way.
Why did you say like that? I mean, realtors always come up with very exact numbers, exactly how an appraiser would value a house. Isn't that right, Brenda?
Yeah, let me interject something. When Brendan joined the team, I would always say, hey, what do you think we should list this house for? He'd come back with, $250,000. I said, well, what's that price per square foot? He'd always look at me with this blank look and say, I don't do price per square foot. Well, that's realtor lingo. So a few weeks ago, I heard him quote price per square foot. So I know he is now truly on the other side.
Oh, no, she poisoned you. She got you. She sucked you in.
Well, I knew she was going to ask for it, so I already worked the numbers out. I still don't do it by price per square foot.
Hey, why is that? Because this is a big deal. Because consumers and realtors, because I think this gives you guys, I think you guys think you have an edge too, I would say. Because a client, homeowners, you got to think about this. This is very rare to have an appraiser on the real estate side of things. You're really going to know what your house is worth before, and that's what matters. 99% of the time, I tell you, it doesn't matter what the realtor tells you your house is worth. It matters what the appraiser is going to appraise it for. But now with this team, you actually have an appraiser on the team. And that's a major deal because you're going to really be able to be more accurate, I would imagine, Brendan. So why is it that you don't do price per square foot?
The way the realtors do it, you can take too many shortcuts with that. You can make the numbers work for you either way. You can make them go higher, you can make them go lower. If you take the appraisal side of it, it basically puts it out there and they take it and they break the price down through every item. So you get a different number at the bottom than would you do, let's say, if you're just grouping a whole bunch of sales together. Well, maybe the realtor's not taking into effect if some of those have pools. Well, having a pool is going to affect your price per square foot. If the same house sells for a certain amount of dollars, the next house sells for the same amount but has a pool, that's going to affect your price per square
Corner
foot.
lot, fence, bigger lot, view.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like if it's on a golf course and where is it at, and when you look at those line items on that appraisal report,
Right.
there's a ton of those that you have to make adjustments for.
Right.
And as a real estate agent, we do the same. We just do it in a little bit different of a way. So I'll take a house that has a pool, give it a value, then I break it down price per square foot, and then do the difference. So I think in the end, we do the same, but we just talk a different lingo.
Right.
Yep.
So do you find that both of you together help the homeowner? Because I mean, every seller, and no offense, guys, I'm the same way. Thinks our house is the prettiest. Your house is the best on the block, and you did this and this to it, and it was wonderful, and that's why it should be the best. But that's not what really matters, unfortunately. So how do you help communicate that to the client? What do they need to know?
Well, having Brendan on the team, I think, gives credibility, because when we are in listing appointments and I can refer to his experience as an appraiser for so many years, it kind of takes it out away from the salesperson. People see real estate agents as salespeople. Appraisers are appraisers. So I think it gives some credibility, and it just builds some trust with that client, knowing that there's an in-depth level of knowledge there.
Yeah, I agree with that, because obviously I deal with the appraisal report all the time, and we look at that, and as the mortgage lender, we get into trouble when the appraiser brings it in low. We can't choose the appraiser anymore. We can choose from a panel of. And you guys have had handcuffs on you for the last few years when those regulations changed. Mm-hmm. And, in my opinion, here, tell me what you think of this, Brendan. And you're listening to Tuttle Talk here on 660 AM The Answer, and we're talking to the Kinsey Group. Brendan, so I think that the value should be what the seller was willing to sell it for and what the buyer was willing to pay for that home. And so if you're the highest priced house in the market, that's okay. That's a sign that the market should move up that way. But that's not the market that we're in. If you're the highest house on the market, guess what? It's not going to come in. It's not going to pray. So what do you think? Is that a problem, or do you think that's the right way? Do you think those regulations were correct? Should we do it the way that it is now?
Well, things had gotten way out of control prior. So I understand the regulations that they were working in. The problem that I think that you're having with the appraisal process is it's a tiered program. It kind of follows the market, but it can't catch up as fast as the market. When this market just spiked a few months ago, there's no way the prices can jump up that high. We've had builders that are just naming their price, and you've got people buying them, but they haven't even sold anything near that. I mean, I understand their costs are going up, everything's going up, but they can't. The appraisal process is lagging behind there.
Well, and I'll tell you, that's actually the reason I think they did it in the first place, because builders were doing that, and they're honestly, and not builders aren't the problem, but there were some builders out there that were one bad apple spoils a whole bunch and causing a problem for the good builders and the good other people out there.
And I agree with you. Market value is what somebody wants to buy a certain property for and what somebody's willing to pay for it. Absolutely. The problem comes into the fact when you're borrowing money for it. They've got the regulations.
And we agree with that on the lender side. Mm-hmm. But I want you to hear that out there, that on the one hand, we agree with you. At the same time, when you're getting financing on that house, there's a little more than just that to consider. And there are a lot of things that we battle. We're in this business, and sometimes we are a consumer too. And we are like, man, I want to believe this, but at the same time, I get it from both sides.
I think as agents, we have to be proactive with the appraisers as well. I mean, when the appraiser comes to our listings, we're there. We're there to help them, not to confront them, not to say we know more than they do, but to give them the tools to help them and to help our seller make value.
Right, absolutely. Okay, coming up, we are going to get to what is hot and happening right now in Collin County from the experts themselves, and we'll find out what it's really like to work with Lars, one of the partners at Halo Group Realty, and what Lars actually does for these people anyway. So stay with us. Welcome back to Tuttle Talk here on the Real Estate Radio Network, 660 AM The Answer. Thanks so much for staying with us. We are with Brenda and Brendan, Brenda Kinsey of the Kinsey Group and Brendan Duffy. They are expert in real estate game, and what's cool is Brendan has also been an appraiser for 19 years, so they have a very unique perspective. Guys, not only on how to value homes for sellers, but also you know what's going on in the market. You know what's hot, and that's important. for you out there to know that you got to have realtors, and it's important to have realtors that know what's going on in the market and what the trends are and where things are going. And everybody's talking about this anyway. But Collin County and Prosper and everything that's going on up north right now, there's just so much activity. And you guys are right there in the middle of that.
Yep, absolutely. I remember back probably in April, maybe March, when I realized the market was definitely shifting. Had a unique property up in the Salina area, not something that you would find very often. So it was a challenge getting it listed in the sense of what price to put on it. But we came up with a very good price, and within a week and a half, we had 2 offers. Actually, we had 3 offers. And that's when I knew something's changing in the market. We accepted one, and the other one was just distraught. So they wanted to go into a backup position. And within 2 or 3 days out of executing the first offer, the second one went into position, and I received an email, one like I've never received before. And any agent that I've talked to that's been in the business 15, 20 years has never experienced this either. The buyer of the backup offer literally offered my first contract $10,000 to walk away. And this was really before the everybody was talking about the market picking up. I mean, this was just, and that's when I knew the market definitely was shifting in Collin County and other parts of the North Texas area.
$10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So just get out of this.
It was a $300,000 house, so we weren't talking $1 million home.
Right.
And here's the thing: is the first buyer refused.
No.
They said no.
Wow, what was this house on some kind of a buried treasure that they had a map to that you guys didn't know about?
Maybe we need to go back.
Goonies deal? What's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's when we realized the market was shifting. It's been fun. It has its challenges as well. Definitely. Yeah. You go show property one Saturday, you show 6, 7 properties, your buyer finds that one. By the time you get back to the office, and we actually do most of ours on our iPads right there as well, they're already executing an offer, and you have to start right back over. And that's hard to break the news to your buyer when they fall in love with a house.
Yeah, it's a lot easier when you have $10,000 in your back pocket. I'll tell you what, sweetie, if this happens to us, just so you know, we are taking the $10,000. There is no question.
You're not calling me sweetie, right?
Yeah, no, baby. Beth, sorry. Yes, not Brenda. So yeah, we're taking that. That's ridiculous. So that's a good sign. I'm glad you figured that out. Obviously, that's good to know what's going on. And now we're in that hot market, and we've been in it. And now we're cooling down a little bit. You're seeing multiple bids cool down a little bit. Where are we at right now?
Yeah, we are. Well, I say that, but just yesterday received multiple offers on a house that's been on the market for 3 days. But there was only 2, not 5 or 6. So yeah, I would say we're cooling down a little bit. Kids are in school, things have settled down, but it's still a hot market.
That's right. It's still hot. It's still good. So get out there. This is still a great time to get in the market and get in the game out there. So very quickly, speaking of the game and where you're experts in Collin County, what's happening up there? I know there's just a lot of movement, a lot of activity. And do you have any? Can you quantify any of that for us? Because everyone's talking about what's going on up there.
Yeah, we actually took a look at some statistics today, and in Collin County specifically, closed sales were up 23.5% from last year to this year. The average sales price was up 10.5%. And the other
appreciation.
Yeah, exactly. The other problem we're having actually is inventory's low. And this statistics proves it. It's down 28%. So there's 28% less houses on the market for buyers to purchase than there were last year. And days on market have dropped from 56 to 33.
Whoa. So very quick, that's a snapshot of where the market is at right now. And 10%, the average Case-Shiller all of Dallas was 8%. So Collin County is even 2% hotter than that. So you're in a good spot. Collin County is a great place to buy right now, and it's going to continue to be a great place to buy. And if you want to have a fantastic set of realtors to help you buy there, you can call us 214-736-9696, and we'll connect you with the Kinsey Group. In fact, they are also offering right now to the listeners and the callers of the show free inspection. Is that right?
That is, yes.
Guys, that usually runs you $300 to $500. That is an awesome saving. So you can call us 214-736-9696. Ask for the free inspection. We'll get you with the Kinsey Group, and you can also find them directly at thekinseygroup.net, correct?
That's correct.
Guys, thank you so much for being on the show today. Really appreciate you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. Okay, now we are here to one of my favorite segments of the show because I always find out something new. The More Cool Tech segment with Brian Moore. Brian, what do you got for us today?
I got something really cool. If you remember last week, I was able to very briefly touch on the Apple iWatch and some of those cool things coming out. And so this week, I wanted to talk about this past Wednesday in Berlin. Samsung had a very large get-together, a reveal of what they call the Galaxy Gear. It is the first smartwatch to hit the market in the big war that's about to happen between Apple and Samsung, who sell the most smartphones in the world right now. The Galaxy Gear, very cool. I got pictures here on the screen. I'll be posting a link on our site as well. It looks like it's going to retail for about $299, but it's the cool thing about it, not only can you look at your text messages, your emails, all that stuff right there on your wrist without having to fumble, get your phone out of your bag, your pocket, whatever. It actually also has a camera built right into the strap. So you can actually go around and be taking pictures, video, whatever, right there on your wrist.
So Samsung is once again upping the iPhone and Apple, but my gosh, they got me sucked into the cloud, man. I can't get out. There's no way. Dang you, Samsung.
I know. I'm such an Apple fan myself. I mean, I got the MacBook, the iPad, the iPhone.
I know. You have it right here in front of you right now. Well,
yep.
That's pretty awesome. Is that coming to, I mean, do you have anything for the States for us? Is it in Germany?
The reveal was in Germany. This will be hitting markets here in the U.S. next month.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's pretty cool. We got all kinds of watches now. The future is here again. Gee whiz. It just changes too fast for me. I can't keep up. I don't even have the iPhone 5 yet, for goodness sakes. But, you know, it does what I need it to do, except it crashes all the time. But other than that, it worked great. Thank you for the technology. I will not be getting that for 3 years.
Another little tip for you. iPhone 5 available at Walmart, $98.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in anticipation of the release of the next iPhone, the 5S, the 5C, the 6.
See, I just skip every other generation and then I get to that. That's how I do it. All right, man. Thank you for that. Bring us some other cool stuff next week. I'm excited to see it. Don't forget to get your boots on. You can go to bootcampaign.com to find out more this Tuesday. And we found out Lars is wussing out. He's not coming on Tuesday again, but it's for a good reason. He has a date with his daughter, which is awesome. So you enjoy that and send us pictures. The rest of you, come to Dig, Clyde Warren Park, get a great workout in with Coach Jimmy. And thank you so much for listening to Tuttle Talk. That's it for the show today. I'd like to thank all my expert contributors, Gabe and John, Lars, Brian, and of course the Kinsey Group. Thank you guys for being here today, and thank you to Dan Bradford, our production director. We'll be back next week with Britt Morris and a really cool lady from a local charity going on right here that we're going to be a part of at the end of the month, so you'll want to hear all about that. Thank you so much for listening to Tuttle Talk, where we're making financial intelligence a priority in the community. Have a great weekend. You've been listening to Tuttle Talk on 660 AM The Answer. You can reach Andy at 214-736-9696. That's 214-736-9696. Or email him, questions@andytuttle.com. Don't forget to become a fan of his show by going to facebook.com/Tuttle Talk. You can also catch previous shows by going to andytuttle.com.